Welcome back to Fox Eyes on the Hill. You know, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting appears to be on the president's chopping block. President Trump wants to defund PBS and National Public Radio, even though Congress has already set aside money for it. But the Trump administration is trying to use a process called rescission to take that money back. What role does the Corporation for Public Broadcasting serve, and who will be impacted? Bill McCarren is back here on the Hill. He's the director of the Freedom Press Center at the National Press Club. Bill, good to see you as always. This has been a long conversation in this city about whether federal tax dollars should be going to support public media. This is nothing new. However, the Trump administration has ramped it up of late. Is this about spending, or is this about ideology or the editorial direction of these organizations?
Well, I think it's probably the latter, Tom. I mean, when you look at the savings that are available and what the president has laid out in the rescission request to Congress, we would save $1.1 billion, which is meaningful money. But the deficit that we're trying to reduce is $36 trillion. So it will still be $36 trillion if this entire rescission was put through. I mean, a little bit less. So it's not, I don't think it's meaningful deficit reduction. It is about ideology. It's part of this sort of general approach that the Trump administration has taken toward media, where there have been some problems with AP being in the pool. There's been problems with VOA being cut. It's a general sort of distrust of media and an attempt to defund if possible.
Republicans have not been happy, though, with public broadcasting, either in National Public Radio or PBS itself. Why is that?
Well, I think for one thing, the mission of PBS is to try to cover things that aren't easily covered by commercial stations, such as public affairs shows, present company accepted, and foreign affairs. These are areas which could be, aside from Washington, you know, channel-changing kinds of subject matter. So they're still important, and so NPR and PBS focus on these kinds of things. That's part of it. There's a perception of ideology. There's a perception of bias. I don't think the administration has done what it needs to do to show bias here, which is a hard thing to prove.
To get to the heart of the matter, though, a lot of Republicans, they look at PBS and they look at NPR and they say it's liberal media, and they don't like what they perceive as liberal media. Is there a way for people to look beyond what their own political ideology is and look at the larger picture of what the public broadcasting system brings to the table? Things like Sesame Street, the Ken Burns documentaries. Is there more to PBS than maybe just some of these news programs that some people have had issue with? Yes,
of course. And sort of the bias argument doesn't relate to Sesame Street or Ken Burns or this sort of stuff. I mean, it's really focused on news. That's where the argument seems to be. And I do think there are ways for Republican audiences to look beyond that. Actually, polling shows that Republicans in fairly good numbers support NPR and PBS. So when they're answering that way, they're probably answering about this wide spectrum that you're mentioning, not just news. But I do think that there are functions that NPR and PBS perform that are very important, particularly in rural areas.
Really quickly as we close, is there an ability for PBS or NPR to replace this kind of funding if this were to be pulled back from the federal government?
I don't think so. It's frequently said 1% of, say, NPR's budget comes from the federal outlay, but 30% or so come from the station groups that are also funded by Corporation for Public Broadcasting. So it would take a third of their budget. I don't think they can replace it.
It's also important to note on the local level, PBS stations also provide local reporting as well, too, in some underserved communities.
Absolutely.
As well. All right, Bill McCarren joins us this morning from the National Press Club and the Press Freedom Center. We thank you so much, as always, for shedding light on some of these issues. We'll have you back again real soon.
Thank you, Tom.
And he's got the free Austin Tice button still prominently placed on the lapel there.
Working on that.
Remind folks about that always. All right, thank you for spending part of your Sunday with us.